Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And the keyword of the day has been mayhem. Holy cow, if you've been listening to the news, well, at least we'll give you at least an hour of clarity and consciousness and maybe some good feelings with some professional wrestling tonight. Compliments of our good boys from AEW and NXT. And this was. Oh, man. All right. So, we're just going to dive right in. There's nothing more for me to add. I can't even go on like a soliloquy or anything like that. I'm just kind of, my brain is exhausted. But here we go, guys. AEW. It was their first major, I guess you could say, major event of 2021. Um, Oh, I just had it. It just kind of clicked on me. All right. It was their New Year's Smash, and we started it off with a six-man, actually, an eight-man tag team match, as it was the Young Bucks and SCU members Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian. They went up against Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Atletico and Jack Evans. When it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 10 minutes even was the Young Bucks and SCU. Um, Good match, quick, good opener, 3 stars for me. I really enjoy all the action. It was a nice, fun little sprint. It had good moments in the match, good wrestling psychology. I enjoyed it. There's really nothing more for me to say. So, Anthony Florio, come on in, my friend. A good little jump off for a New Year's Smash.
Absolutely. Solid 3 stars for me. This was a nonstop action-packed match that perfectly set the tone for the rest of the show. The Acclaimed continued to show why they are a bright part of AEW's tag team division, while the Young Bucks starred. The biggest development was the revelation that SCU could very well be finished by the time 2021 wraps up, not to mention the tease of a match with the Bucks. Given the history between the teams and their influence on AEW from its inception, it would certainly be a suitable conclusion to the run as a tandem by Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, who MF and I have known since day one of TNA Impact Wrestling. Two TNA originals, those two guys who were two of the many pioneers of the X division, and yeah, we will certainly wish them well, if that's true or not, but we'll see. But a solid way to start Indeed MF. I'm with you. Solid 3 stars. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely a solid 3 stars and definitely a good way to start off this edition of night one of New Year's Smash here in AEW Dynamite. And yeah, I mean, I love the fast paced action that we got from both sides, especially the Young Bucks and SCU. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with SCU somewhere in this new year. So I mean, could they be challenging the Young Bucks somewhere down the line? We'll just have to wait and see. But all in all, it was a good match, so there's really nothing more to say. Let's move right along, Fletch.
And then we had ourselves a Be a Man fight. Warlow going one on one with Jake Hager. Warlow wins the match in roughly 10 minutes. Anthony Florio, it is all yours. And I already hear the Shatshire cat like grin coming from you.
Because it was a hell of a match. Why not? This was infinitely better than it had any right to be. This was a good old-fashioned hoss fight between two big guys who didn't waste movement or energy. They went a clubbing, and the result was a physical war that ended with the right guy going over. Wardlow has a ton of upside and really impressed here against a former world champion in Hager. To his credit, Hager made his opponent look like $1,000,000, especially with the selling of his F10 finisher. The sign of respect was a nice touch as Inner Circle appears to be gelling for the first time since MJF and Wardlow came on board. We will see if that continues moving forward or if this was a one and done thing. For now, Wardlow and Hager may very well have had the match of the night on a show that still had Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix to come. Oh boy. So 3.5 stars, and I'll even go as far as to call this the sleeper fight of the night. Wouldn't you agree, Michael Bullock?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this was definitely a solid be a man fight here. I mean, this was much better than what I expected. I mean, 3.5 stars. I agree. I mean, this was. I mean, I didn't know what to expect from these two going into this match, but they really delivered. I mean, it was really what. Yeah, I mean, this was an awesome be a man fight. I mean, and like you said, I think this is the first time we're seeing the inner circle gel together since MJF and Wardlow came on. So a nice match here. I definitely enjoyed it. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, this was indeed a be a man fight, and definitely was. I mean, I knew it was going to be a good match, but I think it was much better than what we expected. So it's yours, Fletch.
Without a doubt, I was unable to see the match. I was working tonight. However, the internet was exploding. The net was exploding over Wardlow versus Jake Hager, talking about how this was one heck of a match. From all indications, you guys are spot on with your rating. At least 3 to 3.5 is what I've been reading from the nets, from the IWC, and everybody is going bonkers. Everybody's loving it. Everybody's enjoying it. Everybody thought that this was a great match. So I mean, this was enjoyable to say the very least. There's really nothing more to say. And then they had a little bit of the weigh-in, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this was because they've unveiled a brand new AEW TNT title. Now, everybody's wondering what happened to... Okay, so out of respect for Mr. Brody Lee after his passing away, what Tony Khan said that they presented the TNT title to Brody Lee Jr. and called them the champion for life with that belt. So what has happened is the AEW TNT title, the current belt that we saw, has been retired. That belt will never see the light of day, and that belt will never ever be defended. That belt is now in possession of Brody Lee's family. They get to keep that belt, and that belt will be with them forever. So that belt will never see the light of day. Darby Allin has a brand new AEW TNT Championship belt that was literally makeshift, just created within a week. So he's got the new title belt, and now he's got to defend that belt next week against Brian Cage. Good luck with that, son. So, they had an official weigh-in and a contract signing, and basically, Brian Cage has over 100-pound weight advantage over Darby Allin. This is the ultimate David versus Goliath next week. So, nothing more to add on that. Then our next fight of the night was Matt Sydal going one-on-one with the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes with Snoop Dogg in his corner. And when it was all said and done, Cody Rhodes won the match in 10 minutes and 5 seconds. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, this was another solid match. Yeah, I mean, 2.5 to 3 stars, and yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, and yeah, it was good to see Snoop Dogg with Cody Rhodes, obviously promoting that new, I think it's that new TBS show that's going to be I think coming up tomorrow, and that's where Cody Rhodes is going to be one of the judges on that show. So yeah, so it's a nice way to promote it. So as you saw throughout the ring tonight on New Year's Smash, so another good match and another one I enjoyed. So Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, solid match, no doubt about it. I could easily give this another 3-star fight. This was, it's what we expected it to be. You know, two good guys. I know Matt Sydal. I know him really well. I know his body of work. I know him as Evan Bourne. I've seen him wrestle for, Project Zero Wrestling was the first time I ever laid eyes on Matt Sydal, and my God, this guy was a freaking nut. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be monstrous. This is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be whatever. And with everything that went down, everything that went into the whole 9 yards, it kind of went from there and really took a life of its own. But this was an amazing match. Cody, there's nothing bad you can say about Cody Rhodes. He's just amazing. He gets better and better and better, and there's really nothing more to add. So, with that said, Anthony Florio, this is another 3.5 star fight. It's all yours.
Absolutely. That's about right. I mean, Cody has hit that hot streak of his career where he can have an above-average match against any wrestler that stands across the ring from him. From Sonny Kiss to MJF to Chris Jericho, he meshes almost seamlessly with all of them, and this was no different. He had worked with Sydal before in the WWE when he was Evan Bourne, and they came together to create a really solid competitive match that gave Rhodes a win, but also provided the underutilized Sydal a showcase for himself. There were a few rough spots, sure, but they worked through them and delivered a strong finished product. The Snoop Dogg spot after the match was a great bit of business as well, in that it should earn AEW some mainstream media attention, while simultaneously hyping the Go Big show ahead of tomorrow night's debut on TBS. So that's really all there is to say on this. So solid 3 stars for the effort, only because of the rough spots. But other than that, that was fine. So solid 3 for me. So with that being said, MF, let's continue on.
All right. And then the next thing that we had was we had the AEW Women's World Title match. The champion Hikaru Shida putting the title on the line against Abaddon. Winner of the bout in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. And still the AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida. This was, you know what? Okay. For all the junk that the AEW women get, and they get a lot of heat for a lot of the matches that they get and everything else, this was actually not bad. This was actually pretty good. Was it the greatest thing ever? No. But I think it was a step up better than some of the other matches we've seen in the past, and everything else. Solid, good, well done, and given for the time that they got, I thought they did a very well done match. Shida is jumping already as a really good champion. She hasn't lost the belt yet. She started off the new year the right way. Big win over a very game challenger with Abaddon. Now the question is, what's next for the reigning champion? We don't know. There's a lot of contenders. Maybe Dr. Britt Baker could be here in the future, and maybe she might be next in line. We'll see. But it continues to be her show, and until she loses that belt, Hikaru Shida has become the one in the women's division in AEW right now. Anthony Florio, it's yours. The champion remains the champion.
What was your rating?
I'm gonna say about 2.5, 2 3/4.
Yeah, that's about right. But I gotta throw in some nitpicking here. Abaddon deserved so much more than that in her first championship opportunity. After being presented as this terrifying threat to Shida's title, leading up to it and during it. She was put down with a knee strike shortly after a commercial break in the middle of a major championship match. Yes, other matches are interrupted by and subject to the picture-in-picture gimmick, but few are so shortchanged as the women's matches on Dynamite. They typically wrap up shortly after the show returns, the majority of the match subjected to the commercial break. That this was never really allowed to get into any real flow or tell much of a story only hurt its overall quality. A major disappointment given the build and the momentum Abaddon had established in recent weeks. I'm sorry, I gotta bring the hammer down on this a little bit. I'm gonna give this 2 to 2.5. That's the best I can go. So I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So I got to be honest here. Be the man who tells it like it is. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
I'm with Florio. I mean, but I'm not going to be as critical as he was. But I'm actually going to say 2.5. I mean, that's the best I can give it. I mean, I understand where Florio is coming from, but the thing is, I mean, it was still fine for what it was and the amount of time it did get. I mean, and yeah, I mean, say what you want about the women's division right now in AEW, but these two gave it their all in the amount of time it did get, and Hikaru Shida is proving herself why she is the woman right now in the women's division. I mean, Abaddon definitely gave her a run for her money, especially after biting biting Hikaru Shida's neck again. I mean, I'm like, I can't believe she did that again. But she definitely overcame the odds and proved why she is the AEW Women's World Champion. So that's all I'm gonna say on it. So I'm just gonna give it to you, Fletch.
All right, guys, and then right after that, it's the main event. It is the AEW World Heavyweight Title, the champion Kenny Omega with Don Callis from Impact Wrestling, going up against Rey Fenix. And like I said, this is the rematch between Omega and Phoenix that went down at Heroes and Immortales from AAA. As this was the night, that was the night when Kenny Omega became the Mega Campeon. This time around, the AEW World title was on the line, and it ended the same way, like that epic night in Mexico. Winner of the bout in roughly 18 minutes, and still the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, the cleaner, Kenny Omega. Anthony Florio, you lead off on the main event, and my God, right after the match, all hell broke loose.
And we're gonna have some fun with that in just a minute. This is obviously the fight of the night. 4.25 to 4.5 stars. There is so much to unpack about this main event and its aftermath. Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix did exactly what everyone expected them to, tearing the house down in a pay-per-view quality main event that had the commentary team exclaiming they had never seen some of the moves or sequences before. Phoenix looked every bit Omega's equal and came within seconds of winning the AEW title. His passion and intensity matched his ability to do things between the ropes few could only ever dream of. He looked the part of a main event competitor and very easily could headline a pay-per-view for this company if they so chose to book him in one. He's that good, and he has proven it at every turn. The post-match angle with the Good Brothers and the confusion surrounding the Young Bucks place in all of it was exactly the type of red-hot cliffhanger you would see back in the days of the Monday Night Wars. It was unpredictable, energetic, and fun. It wasn't overbooked, overproduced, or cringeworthy. It worked because fans knew of the relationship between the Young Bucks, the Good Brothers, and Omega, and genuinely cared about the possibility that they would reunite, a la the Bullet Club. While it appears they have and did, it will be interesting to see if that is the case or just perception. Regardless of the answer, the audience now wants to tune in next week to see what is going on. The definition of an effective angle. I'm actually going to bump this. I'm actually going to give this 4.5 stars and call this the fight of the night. It is the fight of the night. 4.5 stars. Forget that 4.25 to 4.5. No. This is a solid 4.5 because of the match and what happened afterward. Heck, you can make an argument for 5 if you wanted to. So I don't know what else there is to say except Michael Bullock, if this is all true, then it's just too sweet.
Oh yeah, if this is all true and the Bullet Club is back together, oh boy. All I can say is AEW Impact Wrestling will never be the same again. I mean, as far as the match goes, this was definitely the fight of the night. 4.5 stars because of the action itself and what we saw. I mean, it was just pure and utter chaos after this match. I mean, you had what it looked like was, first we saw the Butcher and the Blade and Eddie Kingston and Allie beat down Phoenix's friends in Pentagon and Pac, and then of course John Moxley coming out and with a barbed wire bat and going after Kenny Omega, and then you had the emergence of Gallows and Ants and Anderson, and then afterwards the guys that were like watching outside, they tried to stop this chaos, but Omega, Anderson, and Gallows basically were attacking everyone, and then looked like the Young Bucks were going to stop it, but all of a sudden they join in. So if this is true, oh boy, yeah, it is indeed too sweet. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, if this is true, the Bullet Club is back. Both AEW and Impact, they could be in for some utter chaos.
Oh boy. And here's the other thing. Three of the members are supposed to be fighting very soon on an Impact pay-per-view. There's a 6-man tag team match coming up, Anthony, and you know that the it is
Saturday
good.
night. Not this Saturday night. Sorry to interrupt, but you brought it up, so I got to address it as the Impact guy here.
Go ahead.
Saturday night, January the 16th. There's going to be a pay-per-view, Impact's first of the year. It's called Hard to Kill, on a Saturday night. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, who are the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, by the way, they're going to be teaming up to take on the Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. Now, normally we don't really go Valley Who and, we get out about 6-man tag team matches, but I could probably say it might be the most anticipated 6-man tag match in recent memory.
Yeah. And we'll get into that. We'll actually preview that, not this week, but next week on the Cerebral Smack Talk, that Friday, the night before that pay-per-view. Myself and Anthony Floyo will preview that on that show. So that will be on January 15th, because the 16th is the show. So January 15th, Friday night, mark that on your calendar, folks. Hard to Kill preview between myself and Anthony Florio. All right, so guys, that's it. Overall review, Mike Bullock, you lead off. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for my rating, 4.5 stars.
All right. Yeah, we were wondering about that. So yeah, as far as this goes, I thought it was an overall good show. This was there wasn't really that much of there really wasn't a dud match that we had, and so I'm gonna give this maybe an 8 out of 10, if that is the correct rating. I thought there were some. Everything I thought was solid. I'm pretty sure that when they heard about everything that was going on with that NXT New Year's Evil, they decided, you know what? If you thought what we had was good, wait till you see what we got. And I think they may have delivered on it. So kudos to AEW Dynamite for what they did, and I thought it was a good show. So I'm actually gonna go 7.5 to 8. That's how I see it. So Fletch, what says you?
I'm gonna give this 8 to 8.5. I kind of partially disagree with you, Michael Bullock, just partially. But no, this was excellent. This was good. It was a good show, solid show. I enjoyed every minute of it. I don't think there's anything more to add. So yeah, Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Yes, sir. Amazing. I mean, considering how stiff the competition they had was, and I mean stiff, but unfortunately, some things went down that unfortunately took away from that show. And going into this, I'll be honest with you, we all thought that NXT was going to blow the doors off these guys. Oh no, that did not happen. Spoiler alert, it did not. Even though, the big matches on that show delivered, we'll get into that in a minute. Um, I agree with these guys. 8 to 8.5. No question about that. I mean, even though I know our minds were mostly on NXT and rightfully so, but I mean, man, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, it was another big time episode in AEW lore, and I know everybody who watched had a blast tonight. So, what else is there to say? I mean, yeah, the women's match was meh, but then again, the women's matches usually are. All the other matches were solid to good to great. Phoenix and Omega, they stole the damn show, but then again, we knew they were going to. Wardlow and Hager, nobody thought that was going to be any good, but boy, how did they prove us wrong? Sleeper fight of the night. Cody and Seidel, solid match. The opener was great. So Moxley's return was great and everything else. So 8.5. If the women's match had been a little better, I probably would have given it a 9. But I think 8 to 8.5 is the correct and appropriate rating. So MF, now I believe we move on to New Year's Evil. And oh boy, let's just say one match we were looking forward to, unfortunately, because of some unforeseen circumstances, got left out, got kiboshed, and because of that, I think because of that, this show suffered greatly.
The momentum got sucked out. I'll say this: if that match would have happened, I think AEW would have been in big trouble at that point. It would have been game over. I don't think they would have survived. Because of what happened, it made it its intellectual equal, or even enough. It might have beaten New Year's Evil, which is that's the name of the event for NXT. So we started it off with Karrion Kross versus Damian Priest. Karrion Kross wins the match in 15:27.
Matthew
And,
went on mute.
yeah, I know. It's just something was going on here. But I was just gonna say, my goodness, what a match! Oh man, what a jump off! I mean, we knew this fight was gonna be big. We knew this fight was gonna be good. We knew the tempers were gonna flare. We knew these guys didn't like each other, and they literally went into the global performance, and they just tore the house down. They went after each other. They wanted to beat each other up. They didn't care. This was what you expected in a good match. This was be a man as you wanted it to be. Priest is awesome. Cross is a psychopath, and these two guys just basically ran right through the performance center or the GWC, and they just said, "The heck with this, let's go." So I enjoyed it. This was 3.5 for me. Anthony, go.
Yes. Now, keep in mind, going in, we had no idea about the match that was affected. Um, we will address that in due time. But as far as this is concerned, a match will never suffer for lacking commercial breaks. Matter of fact, this match was given to us commercial free. How about that? A match will never suffer for lacking commercial breaks, but this contest did not quite earn that honor over the better contests to come. After time away, the Doomsday Deviant was off his game a bit. He and Priest struggled to find consistent chemistry in a hard-hitting fight. The two did manage to tell a strong story throughout. Priest was clearly coming in injured, and Cross was glad to take advantage. The Archer of Infamy sold his injuries well and smiled in the face of his own doom. If the two were fighting at their best, this could have been even better. Cross was the only man that could win here. He is still completely undefeated in NXT, and the man that beats him needs to do so on a major stage. These two could have a rematch down the line, but Priest is not the right one to stop the Doomsday Deviant yet. So I do agree with MF's rating. I will give it a solid 3.5 stars for the effort. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, a little rough at times, but still, I mean, these two still delivered that Hoss fight we knew they were gonna.
Yeah, they delivered on the Haas fight that we expected when it comes to these two, and they certainly delivered. It was a 3.5 star match. I mean, these two really delivered as we expected them to be. But Karrion Kross going over was the right choice. I mean, in his first true test since coming back from that injury, so who knows? Maybe with this, maybe Karrion Kross is not only putting NXT on notice, but maybe a certain NXT champion that maybe he's coming, that he may be in line, he could be next in line for an NXT title shot. Well, let's not forget, Karrion Kross never lost that NXT title, so you know he's going to be getting a shot somewhere down the line. So yeah, good win for Kross. He needed it, and this was the right move here by NXT. So there's really nothing more to say except Fletch. Let's move on. And I don't know how you feel, but I think Karrion Kross is next in line for the NXT Championship, especially since he never lost the title.
I totally agree. I totally agree with everything you just said there, Michael Bullock. There's definitely no doubt about it. He definitely deserves an opportunity at the Gold. So we'll wait and see what happens. But also remember, there is an NXT World Title match that was on this show tonight. So who knows how that plays out. So we'll just have to wait and see. So next up we had was another title match actually. The NXT Cruiserweight Championship of the World on the line. Gran Metalik from the Lucha House Party versus Santos Escobar. Winner of the bout in 12 minutes and 27 seconds. And still the Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Santos Escobar. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
I'm going to give this a solid 3 stars. The fast build to this match may have let down the action as it was hard to get truly invested. It was obvious that Gran Metalik had no chance, no matter how good he looked, and there was little drama throughout to sell that potential ending. However, this was never meant to be about drama. It was a solidly fun, action-heavy Lucha Libre battle. Metalik got to show what he can do at his best. Escobar proved he's a talent that can translate to any roster. It was a good win for the champion. So, not much more to say on this. A solid 3 stars, maybe 3.25 at best. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. This was a solid 3.25 stars. It was a good match for what it was, and yeah, I mean, obviously Santos Escobar going over was the right choice, and Gran Metalik definitely gave him all he could handle, but obviously Santos Escobar proved why he is the reigning NXT Cruiserweight Champion. So now the question is, what's next for Santos Escobar? So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, Santos Escobar continues to prove to be one of the best cruiserweight champions in the company right now. He's just continuing this big run. It's amazing what he has done. And yeah, there's really nothing more to add. And now we do move on to the next match of the night. This was actually a cool down match. So, Mike Bullock, you don't have to cover on this one. It was Xia Li as she made I guess you could say her return with Boa and a mystery woman as they went up against Katrina Cortez. Xia Li wins the match in 1 minute and 27 seconds, but Mike Bullock, get ready, bro. Here comes one of the big matches of the night. Last woman standing. Rhea Ripley, the Nightmare, versus Raquel Gonzalez, winner of the match in 17 minutes, 27 seconds. It was Raquel Gonzalez beating Rhea Ripley. Michael Bullock, Raquel Gonzalez has now made her presence known. The biggest win of her career. She just took down the Nightmare. She just took out the former NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, and she did it in a big way. With the move she did to keep Rhea Ripley down for the count of 10. But my goodness, this was this to me. I mean, you want to talk about? I mean, we always talk about a be a man fight. This was a be a woman fight, and boy, howdy, we saw everything in this last woman standing match. Um, I'm gonna give this 4.25. I mean, oh my goodness, they literally took it everywhere. I mean, even into the back of the Capitol Wrestling Center, and man, oh man, this was just utter chaos. And then basically the move that that Raquel Gonzalez put on Rhea Ripley to keep her down for the 10 count. Whoa, that was that was crazy. But yeah, this was definitely the biggest win of Raquel Gonzalez's career as a singles competitor. So who knows? A win like that maybe could put her in line for a future NXT Women's title shot. But man, definitely the biggest win of her career. So Fletch, it is yours. And I'll tell you what, Raquel Gonzalez may have won the match, but I don't think these two will ever be the same again after the hell these two went through.
Oh no. Oh heck no. I mean, that was without a doubt one of the biggest and most chaotic matches I've ever seen in my career. And man alive, what a war. I mean, you want to talk about. You know what? We've been saying how much the NXT women are the best women's division in wrestling, and you just saw it clear as day, no debates. The Nightmare and Raquel Gonzalez basically dumped Abaddon and Sheeta, and their match was good, but this one it's apples to oranges, guys. It's basically the level of competition in the women's division between AEW and NXT is no comparison, guys. NXT is beyond far superior right now. They're light years ahead right now. They're playing like the Kansas City Chiefs, for heaven's sakes. That's how good the NXT women are right now. There's no debate. I mean, what we saw tonight, you could easily call this fight of the night, but it was a match that was even better than this. And that's even crazier. So, yeah, this was awesome. 4 to 4.25. Michael Bullock, you nailed it. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm actually going to go a little higher. I'm actually going to give this 4.5 stars. The bar for great matches in 2021 was set early by this insane and physical last woman standing match. Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez had already proved their chemistry in the ring, but this match only extenuated what they do so well together. Brutal destruction was the name of the game, finding new innovative ways to hurt each other. The pacing never falters in spite of the match type, inherently setting up wrestlers to slow down. These two knew what they needed to do and delivered. If War Games had not been enough last month, Raquel Gonzalez has been made. This win has to put her at the top of the heap in terms of challengers to Io Shirai and the NXT Women's Championship. She is the first woman in months to feel like she is ready to dethrone the genius of the sky. So there's nothing more for me to say except the biggest win by far of Raquel Gonzalez's career. Michael Bullock, you've got a future. You got a future star in your women's division. And oh, by the way, I'm going to go on the record here and now. MF, be sure to put me on the record for this when I say that I don't know when, but I think sometime this year. Now, they've announced that the next takeover is going to take place on, of all days, Valentine's Day. How about that? A Valentine's Day takeover, huh? I think that might be the perfect place to do it. If they book it for then or on an NXT show, there's no question in my mind. After what we saw tonight, gentlemen, and especially you, Bullock, I'm putting you on notice. You're looking at the next NXT Women's Champion. Period. And a quotation and a statement. Move on.
So you're calling for Raquel Gonzalez to be the one to upend Io Shirai to become the NXT Women's Champion. I just want to make sure I got that right.
You damn right.
Okay. So you're calling for Raquel Gonzalez to knock off Io Shirai. All right.
If and when it happens.
I think you need to write it down, Fletch, to remind us that to put Anthony's word on it.
All right. I'll make a note of that. No, I got you. Hey, it's being recorded right now. The whole world knows about it now. I don't need to write nothing. Good. If you want to know, just come back to this day, January 6, 2021. That's the day that Florio claimed that Raquel Gonzalez is going to become the next NXT Women's Champion, upending Io Shirai. And I think he's also calling the shot for Valentine's Day, February 14th, for that to happen as well. Now that I'm holding them to the fire on, but we'll wait and see. It could happen.
I didn't stutter.
Yeah, it could happen. It's very possible. I could also see it happen WrestleMania weekend too. I mean, that could happen too. That's only if WrestleMania does not go 2 nights, like they did last year, like they did with last year's show. But last year's show was because of a pandemic. This time around, let's see what happens. So we'll see. Right. We'll see. All right. And then, unfortunately, yes, we had some bearer of bad news, y'all. Basically, what happened was our fight pit, the fight pit that we were so excited for, which was going to be Timothy Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa, gone. That's right,
no.
Timothy. I know. I was so mad when I heard about this too. But unfortunately, Timothy Thatcher suffered an undisclosed injury. We don't know what happened with him. We don't know when he suffered the injury, what happened. There is some rumors going around that maybe it's COVID related. That's all we're hearing, that it's actually not an actual injury. It might be because of COVID concerns. If that's the case, man, what a sucky time for that to happen. Especially tonight, because we were about to get the fight pit, man. But we lost it. We lost the match. Therefore, we had to get a replacement match, which ended up being an intergender tag team match. The Garganos, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, they went up against Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart. Well, what happened was there was a little funny ha-ha moment prior to what happened. Shotzi brings out that tank of hers, that newly designed tank, and let's just say Austin Theory is not going to have any children anytime soon. Yeah. Basically, he got fired upon. Somebody forgot to tell us that there's a little Nerf missile in the tank now, and it pinpointed him somewhere it didn't need to be pinpointed. He got hit in the mommy daddy button, boys. That hurts. That hurts bad. So, Kushida and Shotzi Blackheart team up. They go up against Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. not Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, and Shotzi Blackheart and Kushida wins the match, and on top of that, Kushida pinned Gargano. I don't know, boys. Do you think? Could that
Championship
be?
moment.
Fully called it.
I smell a North American Championship match for Valentine's Day Takeover, boys. And MF, Gargano and Kushida. Think about that.
Yeah, that could be a good one. That could be pretty epic, boys. I can say that. There's really nothing more to say on that. That could be pretty damn good. As far as this match goes, okay, second worst fight of the night by default. It was all right. It was good. It was solid. I could get it's about 2.5 stars. I mean, it's disappointing though because I was so amped and so excited for the fight pit, and unfortunately we lost it. We lost the fight pit. That's why I think Anthony said it best. It did suffer with the show because the show, if the fight pit happened, oh my God, we're talking maybe 9.5, maybe a possible 10. But unfortunately, this took a couple of points away. But I mean, for what it was worth and for all that happened, I got to give WWE NXT credit to try to fill something. I know they must have been disappointed. I know Triple H must be heartbroken because he had probably a fight of the year candidate in his hands. But it goes by the boards. Hopefully they'll give us the fight pit eventually, because that match would have been freaking insane. Hopefully they'll push it off and do it for the Valentine's Day match and let that fight happen then. But Anthony Florio, come on in. Oh man, talk about disappointment.
I know. I mean, we were all looking forward to it, and I know nobody was looking more forward to it than UMF. I mean, the only other match we had in that thing, which was Timothy Thatcher against Riddle, Kurt Angle, the referee, last year, MF went on the record and called that a 5-star classic. And I'm sure he probably would have done the same thing if we had gotten this match here tonight. But hopefully everything will. I mean, we got a month and change, about a month and a half or so until we get to Valentine's Day. That Valentine's Day takeover. I mean, that would be the perfect opportunity to do it if all is well with everybody. But first off, prayers to my man Timothy Thatcher. I'm praying for you, brother. Me being his biggest supporter and biggest fan of his work. I mean, I didn't know who he was until he came in, and then when I saw him, I was just so blown away by everything that he's done. So I'm rooting for him. That's all I can say. And with this match being kiboshed, the quality of the show took a great dip. And unfortunately, they had to go to the Monday Night Raw side of things and brought in some pointless and unnecessary filler for the most part, in the form of that Xia Li squash match. And then this. I mean, you had the Way come out with this ridiculously over-the-top celebration. And I do mean ridiculously over the top, with a police escort. I mean, good grief. But anywho, Shotzi Blackheart got a measure of revenge on the Poison Pixie. Kushida continues to put himself in position for a future North American title opportunity against Gargano. Now that the curse is broken, the Rebel Heart could lose at any time. While he deserves a sizable run as champion, Kushida is well built as the man to dethrone the NXT North American champion. He has the momentum and needs one big win to put him over. So that's all I can say on this. I definitely agree with the rating. It was about 2.5 stars or so. Second worst fight of the night behind the squash. So not much more to say. I mean, Bullock, this is life. These things happen. And, unfortunately, injuries and illnesses are part of the game. And Timothy Thatcher had to exit. And that's why we had to kibosh that fight pit match. And I'm sorry, Bullock, as I give it to you. Your show definitely took a great dip in quality because of this. Pointless and unnecessary filler. with the squash in this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is disappointing, but I mean, you had to give NXT credit. I mean, they tried everything they could. I mean, it was just an unfortunate situation that occurred. So yeah, unfortunately, we got some pointless, unnecessary filler, but we had a fine match for what it was. Uh, Last minute for what it was. So I'll give it 2.5 stars, but that's all I can say on it. So, Fletch, it's yours.
All right, and now it's time. The main event, the NXT World Title on the line. Finn Balor, the champion. The challenger is Kyle O'Reilly, the winner of the bout. 17 minutes, 25 seconds via submission, and still the NXT champion, the Prince, Finn Balor. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
All right. I still think the other match was better, if I'm going to be honest with you, but this one was just as good. Um, I don't often say this, but I gotta call for co-fights of the night here. The women's last woman standing with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez, and this is the other one. This match also needed to be shown without a single commercial break, and it benefited immensely. The two tried to outshine their first battle, and they nearly did just that. This was brutal, bloody, and all-out violence. The two men were technically excellent throughout in their focused attacks. The jaw injury played so well to their history together, where Balor was able to make a statement by forcing Kyle O'Reilly to tap out due to an injured jaw. The two men have incredible chemistry and told another excellent story together. Finn Balor needed the win as he has only truly begun his reign. He had a pair of great matches with Kyle O'Reilly, and I believe it is time for him to move on to more great opponents. A certain bruiserweight comes to my mind. Pete Dunne was watching at ringside, which would be the perfect next challenger to the Prince. Valentine's Day Takeover. There's your main event, boys. That's all I'm saying. Book it. Finn Balor, Pete Dunne, NXT Championship match. You do that at the Valentine's Day Takeover, you got an early 2021 match of the year candidate for sure. So, but this was 4.5 stars. Co-fight of the night, along with the last woman standing. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, not nearly as good as the October match was, but another fantastic effort from these two. And with the win, I think you got your main event for Valentine's Day Takeover. Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. How do you feel about that,
Yeah,
Mr. NXT?
I'd be up for that. I mean, yeah. First off, I mean, 4.5 stars. Co-fight of the night. I agree. Not as good as the first match, but still, it was a damn good match, no doubt about it in my mind. But yeah, yeah, Pete Dunne was seen at ringside, and I could definitely see him being the next challenger for the NXT title to Finn Balor. I'd definitely be up for that. But like I said earlier, I think you also have to put Karrion Kross in the conversation because, like I said, he never lost the NXT title, and maybe he would be another candidate that would be in line for a shot. But we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, 4.5 stars. Fight of the night. Nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
4.5 stars. There's really nothing more to add. This was an amazing way to close the show. Yeah, this was good. This was solid. This was really well done. So nothing more to add. Michael Bullock, you had to lead off. This is your show. How did they do tonight? Overall review for NXT.
I'm gonna give it about maybe a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, I think the thing that really took away was, of course, obviously the fight pit being thrown out, and you had a Xia Li squash match, and you had that campy comedy nonsense with the way and the. I mean, you had a fine match with the mixed tag, but like you said, that was the second worst fight of the night. So if the fight bit happened, I would have given it a much higher rating, maybe 9.5. But because of those two things, I have to take it down to 7.5. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
I'll give this about seven and a half to eight. I do believe AEW did win tonight, but I mean, it wasn't because of. I think if the fight pit happens, forget it. NXT wins, hands down. They won it. But for all of the stuff that they had, for all of the body of work, for everything that you gotta add, and with everything included, there was maybe one too many, maybe two bad things that uh NXT did, that there was only one bad thing that AEW did. So at the end of the day, I got to give the points to uh to AEW to win for the night. But overall, this was at least a 7.5 for me. Anthony, it's yours.
Agreed. 7.5 for me. Um, and I'll sound like a broken record here. I mean, it was the kiboshed fight pit. I mean, had that match gone down, it would have been a we would have gone it would have gone big time higher. No question about that. But I don't know what else there is to say. I mean it started a bit slow with an okay opener and and a somewhat disappointing cruiserweight match. Xia Li got the shine, and everything after was tremendous. Two stellar matches, and that's really all there is to say on that. So you definitely set the table for NXT Takeover on Valentine's Day, and of course another big announcement that came out tonight. There's going to be a Dusty Rhodes Classic for the women. We're going to have a women's Dusty Rhodes Classic. So there you go, Michael Bullock. I mean, another coup for your brands. So a big moment for them. I mean, we already knew about the men's, but now we're going to have one for the women's. So that's very exciting for them,
Not
which is
only
only
that,
fitting because yes, MF.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
I'll piggyback right behind you. I'll piggyback right behind you. But go ahead, Florio.
there you go. There you go. All right. What I was gonna say quickly was, which is it's only fitting that they're doing this because we all know it's the best women's division hands down. So now you fans who haven't gotten to see this yet, if you wonder why the three of us always preach about NXT's women's division being hands down the best in all of professional wrestling, watch this Dusty Rhodes Classic and you'll see why. Amen, MF.
Amen to that. And I do believe traditionally the winner of the tournament would be in line for a title match. Now, I would believe that the winners of this tournament would actually now become contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. So this is even higher stakes if you win the Dusty Classic for the women, because not only do you win that, but you also now become number one contenders for the Women's Tag Team Championship? Whoa! Game changer! Good luck to the women. Alright, so I guess Anthony, I think that's it for tonight. I think everybody went. Bullock went. I went. Florio, you went. Yeah, we're out of here. All right, so tomorrow night, we got another episode. It's going to be strictly sports, but we're going to be talking about all football. The NFL wildcard weekend and the national championship game in college football, Ohio State versus Alabama in Miami. at the Hard Rock. So we're gonna do that 10:30 Eastern Friday night. Another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk back where we are, where we belong on Friday night. First one for 2021. Boy, do we got some bombs. We got SmackDown Live as usual, but all you NJPW fans, all you New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, you know a big weekend just went down. 3 days of wrestling. We had night 1, night 2 of the biggest wrestling event of the year. Wrestle Kingdom 15 from the Tokyo Dome. And then they just had New Year's Dash earlier today from Korakuen Hall. So we're going to get through everything on that on the special edition of the Mikey's Mindset. We'll do that at 10:30. So for Anthony Foyo, for Michael Bullock, I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routines. Hugging hand pounds. We're out. See you tomorrow night. So long for now. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.